Good evening. Welcome back to the First Layer. My name's Richard. I'm your host here usually Wednesday and live stream Sunday afternoons for Ask for Help. What are we doing? I have no flippin' idea what we're doing. We're just getting goofy. Let's say hi to some people in the chat tonight. Let's see who we got here. We've got David Carter. I'm going to answer your question. Nick has also answered that question already. We've got Non-Fam in the house, Shadell 3D, Build It Basement. Teza is here as well. Trevor Broadbent, Parker Cooper is here. Hello, haven't been around in a while. Wow. Well, Parker, welcome back. Australia, Trevor's out in Australia. Holy cow. You guys are coming in from all over the world tonight. Very cool. I love that. So what are we doing? I said this is putting it all together in odds and ends. Well, I may have gotten a little bit ahead of myself on that. We've got a couple of minor things that we still have to do. I want to show you some of the things that are going to go into this build as we move forward. And Shadell says, hurry, everyone leave. Shadell, that's not very nice, especially to a Canadian brother. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. All right, so David Carter says, hi, my name is David and would like some advice. My Ender 3 heat bed will not stop getting hotter, climbs well above what it's set to and doesn't stop. Can anyone help Dave? Dave, let me tell you what's going on there. It sounds like you've blown the MOSFET on the main board. So I would immediately shut it off. I would definitely check to see that the MOSFET has not smoked itself. If you're using an Ender 3 original, and it sounds like that's what you're doing here, those MOSFETs on the boards, they can fail. And when they do, it makes a heck of a mess. So my recommendation would be, first and foremost, is to shut everything down, get yourself a replacement motherboard first. They're not that expensive. I mean, you can find them for around $30 to $40. Put the new board in, and my recommendation would be go with something from Big Tree Tech, one of their Ender 3 replacement boards, usually pretty good. They have good quality boards. They work on a 24 volt system or 12 volt system, depending on which Ender 3 that you have. Then I would plug everything back in, load up the firmware, and test it out. If that is not the issue, it may be something else. And my camera is going to wink on me again tonight, and I don't know why. But we're gonna get away from that pretty soon anyway. So, yeah, that's what I would do first and foremost. And please go ahead and join us in the Discord. That will definitely, there's a lot of people over there in the Discord, also on our Facebook group, the First Layer on Facebook, and you can go over there, and that would definitely be helpful as well. Parker Cooper says, my Monoprice 3D printer has died. Is it worth replacing the motherboard? Yeah. Everything else should still work. If the motherboard went dead on you for whatever reason, it could be one of two things. It could be your power supply. Make sure that there's life going to your power supply, and you can do that with a simple check using your multimeter. And if there is power going to your power supply, actually there's a visual indicator. There should be a little green or red light on your power supply. When you turn it on, that light should come on. If it does, it means you are getting power to the power supply and that it is working. If you're not getting any lights on the power supply, then I would say it's probably your power supply first and foremost. Faulty thermistor when you have a faulty thermistor, Teza, typically you won't get a rise in temperature. It will immediately cut out. Usually that happens, and I've seen this before, when a MOSFET blows on the motherboard. And it has happened, and it stumped me quite a bit when it first happened to me on an older Ender 3. And I did replace the motherboard, and it worked just absolutely fine. Didn't have any problems with it whatsoever. So there we go. There we go. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Good day, Richard from Mika Steve. Hello, Mika Steve. Yeah, check your MOSFETs, Parker. Yeah, that's definitely what I do. Okay. So what do we still have to do on this to get it up and running? Well, we have to connect our screen, and we're going to be using a 7-inch touch screen that I have here. This is just a generic touch screen that we're going to use. And we're just going to use this generic touch screen on this. I am going to replace it with a 5-inch touch screen. This one's a little big. If I do decide to keep this one, I don't know that I want to keep it down here because it is quite large. I may actually mount it up on top. What do you guys think about that? Should I mount it up on top? Because that might be cool. Find a way to mount it up on top. That might be cool. There's definitely a couple of things I can do. So the 7-inch touchscreen we are going to make use of for our software. So that's what we're going to use there. So Clipper screen, I think it's called. Now I've got a strip of LEDs here. This is just some old LED 24 volt cool whites that I had around. And I am going to put some RGBs in this machine up along the top here. On the back, we've got to do on both sides and on the back. I don't think I'm going to put any on the front. I don't think it's necessary. I think that's just a lot of lighting extra lighting I don't need. But I do have to figure out what I'm going to do wire-wise going down back onto the main board. So that's something that I have to figure out. One of the other things I'm going to be adding to this build, and let's see if I can get a close-up here. Let's go to camera 1. I don't know how well you guys can see this, but this is a Triangle Labs filament detection switch. And I've had this thing forever. I've had this little guy forever. There we go. And I've never used it, so it's still brand new in the package. So I'm going to make use of this. I'm going to put in a filament detection switch. And I'm not sure yet if I'm going to put it on the outside on the back of the machine, or I'm going to put it on the inside of the machine. I haven't decided yet. What do you guys think? Should I put it on the outside or on the inside? Hey, there's KB3D. I want to thank Chris yesterday and Joseph Jolly as well. Welcome, Joseph. Nice to see you back. I want to thank Chris yesterday for helping me out on the Discord. There was a couple of wires, as you guys might recall from Tuesday night's stream, that I didn't know where they really went. They were 2 purple wires. One said 24 volt, the other one said ground. And through his help, I was able to connect them. They actually go to the power supply. So I connected them to the power supply, and they are supplying 24 volts up into our Hart Stealth Burner toolhead board. So this is going to go into onto that board. I hope this camera is clear enough that you guys can see this. So we're going to put in the filament detection, or the filament out detection switch, because the board that we are using, the Manta M8P, will allow us to hook one of those up. We also have the Sex Bolt. I know that sounds dirtier than it is, but we have the Hart Sex Bolt Z end stop. And I've already went ahead and assembled this. This is not any real different than a standard sort of setup. The difference in this guy is that it actually has a bolt that goes up into the end stop here, where the end stop is. So when you turn it over, it doesn't fall out. You see? It doesn't fall out. So what I have to do is I have to get that wired up, and we've got everything that we need right here to wire that up. So we're going to go ahead and do that tonight. Then we've got our X and Y Z end stops that we have to wire up as well and get those into place. We may not get all this done on camera tonight, but we'll do our best. And then I have this little temperature probe. This is a 10 ohm or 10K temperature probe that we're going to be putting in the chamber. I'm trying to find a place where I want to mount this. So that's going to be something that goes in there so that we can monitor the temperature of the chamber once we've got the sides on our printer. So that's what we're going to use for that. So we're going a little bit above and beyond here on some of the things that we would do from a standard, build. And as I said before, this build is not your typical build. This build is a little different. We're adding some things that you wouldn't normally see on a standard out-of-the-box kit sort of build that you would get from somebody like LDO. LDO makes a great kit, don't get me wrong, but there are some added things that you can do to enhance your understanding of the printer and give you more data and allow you to get better prints. So that's something that we're going to be working on. All right, so that's for our sex bolt. I just love saying that, sex bolt. And then finally, the last thing we're going to add to this build for now is this 720p Logitech C270 webcam. Now I've taken off the bracket and I've just put on a 3D printed bracket so that I can go ahead and mount it up in here and then see exactly where that is going to go. So I'm going to just quickly do that now. So it's kind of out of my way and off the table and I don't lose it, because Lord knows I will lose things faster than you can shake a stick at. And here's the fun part. This thing that I have in my hand, I want to thank Chris from KB3D. KB3D, by the way, is one of the sponsors of this build. He sent me this wonderful little tool. I'm going to go to camera 3. There we go. So he sent me this wonderful little tool. It's magnetic on this end, and it is a 2.5 millimeter hex wrench on this side. And this thing is great. I love this thing. It works perfectly. If I keep it in my pocket, I know I've always got an M3 or a 2.5 millimeter driver that I can go ahead and add little things like this. And then we'll just kind of put that up in there. Come on. There you go. You can do it. You can do it. There we go. And of course it didn't grab. That's the one thing I hate about hammer nuts. They don't always grab. There we go. Now we got it. You have to kind of back them out and then put them back in. And that should almost be centered as far as the lens goes. I know you guys couldn't see that, sorry about that. But that's where that is going to go, and then we are going to go ahead and just run all of our wiring down inside here so that we can find a way to get it back into the bottom. So let's go ahead and get our sex bolt ready. We're going to go ahead and do that now. Let's go back to camera 1. There we go. So what we need to do, and just to kind of give you an idea of how this thing works, I'm going to take it apart. I did previously put it together, but I'm going to take it apart and I'm just going to show you how this thing all goes together, because it is rather interesting. Really like the way this thing works. We have Midlife Chaos. Like a pocket screwdriver, I use mine every day. Yeah, I like a pocket screwdriver too. Sorry I'm late. I got wrapped up rewatching Build It Basement's Clipper video. Hi. Hi everyone. Hi the Poor Boy channel. Don't let Shawdell 3D be an instigator tonight, okay guys? He seems to be an instigator. You know, we're going to be talking about the latest video from Build It Basement, our friend Kermit over at Build It Basement. He did a great video, a 101 on Clipper and getting it installed, which is an amazing little video. I really liked it. Make sure we got the right size for that, because I want to take that out as well. So I want to show you guys how this all goes together. So you have to print yourself a different sort of mount for this. So here it is. You can see that there's a couple of little brass sleeves in there that we have to put in. If I go to this camera, I can bring it up a little closer. You see there's a couple of little brass sleeves. There's actually two of them. They stack on top of one another. And you push them all the way in. And once you do that, then it gives you a nice smooth motion for the actual bolt that goes in there. And then the bolt goes in and it's threaded. It's like a Chicago bolt, actually. You thread that in there. Then you take a short M4 screw, cap head screw, and you put that in there. And you don't need to make this super tight. You don't need any Loctite on this either. All you're going to do is just simply put it in there, just till it stops. You can see now it doesn't come out. So we have that bolt in there. Now we're going to go ahead and let's take a look at the main board here. You can see all it really has on the main board is just a little micro switch. That's all it is, just a little micro switch. Yes, I did say sex bolt. You can tell your wife I did say sex bolt. And I don't know if I could be demonetized for saying sex bolt. Hey, there's Nuno. All right, so now we're going to put that back together. We're just going to put in our 4 self-tapping screws that we can see here. We'll just put those in. Again, they don't have to be super tight. They just have to go until they stop. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to break the plastic. Let's use the right driver for these. There we go. And 2 more. Then we'll go ahead and wire it up. We don't need a ton of wiring on this, so we're not going to do a ton of wiring. But I have a kind of a way of doing this that probably isn't any different than anybody else. I'm looking at my XY. That's the one I want to spend a little bit more time on tonight. Let's see. Well, we've got 20 people watching. There's 17 people watching. We only have 8 likes. My goodness, you guys. Hit that like button, would you please? It certainly helps out a lot. Screwing screws. Yes, screwing screws. I know. At the end of the day, does it really matter how many screws we screw into our sex bolt? I don't know. All right, so we need to make up some wire. All right, let's go ahead and do that. So all we have is black, and this is some PTFE wire that we got with our wiring kit. Let me see if I can bring this camera down a little bit so you guys can see what's going on the table. There we go. How's that? You know, I've used all kinds of wire in different builds, and I got to say I really like this PTFE wire. It seems to be a lot more resilient than the other wire that is out there, like the silicone jacketed wire or even standard wire. There we go. We got that side out. And again, we don't need a ton of wire here because we're just going down to the main board on the inside. So we're going to probably just do a couple of small little runs Just make sure that we have enough. So what I will do is I will probably just do this. Run it the length of the side. So about yay much. I think that should be more than enough. And I will take my cutters. I have some cutters here. And I'll cut that, and then I will do another one the same length. And here is another one the same length. Boom, done. Okay. Then we'll take the remainder of this wire and we'll just put it off to the side for now, because we're not going to use it yet for a while. Put it here behind us. And now we need to get this ready for our, there's an extra bolt we don't need. So now, I'm going to cut these little guys off. Trying to keep an eye on the chat here as well. So, does anyone know why Golden Jaguar didn't stream today? Don't recall him saying anything. Golden Jaguar, yes, I do have an answer to that. For anybody that doesn't know, Golden Jaguar is working on something in his personal life right now that will prove to improve his life with his family, and not that him and his family are in trouble or anything, they're not, but he's looking at enhancing his career. So I wish him all of the best in that endeavor. And that's why you're going to find some days he's not going to stream. It's just because he's got things going on in his life right now that that are a little more important to him. And I get that. I totally get that. Now, how am I going to tell these two wires apart? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I don't have a ton of, you see I've only got a very small amount of wire pulled out there. I don't have a ton. I'm going to actually put a piece of heat shrink on one of them. It's not another color, but it'll be enough to let me know exactly what I need to do. All right, so that's my end with my wire. We're going to grab our crimpers here. Jeweler's magnifying glasses. I wish I had. I do have some, but I've been doing this enough. I'm pretty good at crimping my wires. I'm pretty good at crimping my wires for my sex bolt. And there we go. Now that's a good crimp. I'm happy with that crimp. Good. Okay, so that's the first one done. Here's the second one done. Or doing. We're going to do the second one now. This is always the boring stuff. Like, this is stuff I don't want to stream about. Like, I should have just done this all off camera, but it's a good excuse. Now, remember on Sunday, guys, we are going to go back to doing Ask for Help. Even though by the time Sunday rolls around, I'm going to be ready to put software and stuff on this printer. And then on Tuesday, we're not going to do much with the build because it is my birthday. So on Tuesday, we're going to have a drink. We're going to have some cake. We're going to celebrate 58 years. of my life. I hope you guys will join me for that. So there we go. We've got our lines done. Now, do I really need to go negative, positive on this? I really don't, to be honest with you, because all we're doing is we're closing a circuit when we do this. So all we're going to do is we're just going to close up that circuit, and that's all. So when it's up, the circuit is open. When it's down, it's closed. Okay, so when it's up, it's open. When it's down, it's closed. So every time that the nozzle taps on that, it's going to close the circuit, and it's going to tell the machine that we now have a closed circuit. So do I really need to? I don't think so. I can do these in any order, really. Let me see what I'm missing here. Life takes precedence. Yes, Teza, it does. All right, yeah, he mentioned something about that last stream. Okay. 3 times reader. 3x usually aren't strong enough for this stuff. Okay. I'm probably missing something, but Nuno says, my Trident is basically done. Just need to install the panels. Nice. We're going to be there too, right shortly. Just can't see them well without them. Okay. Talking about glasses again. Okay. It already prints first time using a dockable probe. It's so cool. Yeah, I've got a dockable probe on this one as well. Let me just pull this dockable probe off. So I have the clicky probe, which is a dockable probe. This is the PCB. And it just sits in its little cradle. And when the head comes by, it picks it up and away it goes. So we have to put a connector on this end of our wire. Let's go ahead and do that. I have a bunch of connectors around here that I know I put aside just for this purpose, and they are right here. These are the connectors that came with the board. We need a 2-pin connector. Oop. There we go. Put all those extra ones away. Don't need a 3-pin, we just need a 2-pin. And we need a couple of these guys. There we go. We'll put those aside for now. Cut these guys off. So on Sunday, as you guys know, is Ask for Help. Because I'm going to be ready to I'm basically going to be ready to install the software on this thing on Sunday, by Sunday. Would you guys like to stick around for that on Sunday? And then on Tuesday, we can just do what we do? Because that would be fun, wouldn't it? Maybe that's just me thinking it's fun. May not be fun. I don't know. What do you guys want? Do you want to install software on Sunday, or do you want to just do Ask for Help and we'll do Ask for Help, but we'll install the software as well. Because we could go ahead and do that as well on Sunday. Yep. Yes, Joseph Jolly. Well, what are we doing? Yes to installing the software on this thing and getting it up and running? Or are we just doing Ask for Help? Or a combination of the both? Install software is fun. Okay. Poor boy, I'm new to this stuff, so it ain't gonna surprise me if I do run into my own ignorance. I have the same problem. You You're not alone in that. Jeff, you're not alone. Howdy, howdy, there's Snapshot FPV. How is the drone business? Why can I not get this in there? Because I'm doing it backwards, that's why. Okay, that one's done. Let's do this one. Just twist that up a little bit. All right, so I got thinking about doing a series of videos on why 3D printing is useful, and not just to make toys and stuff like that for your kids. Thinking about doing a series after this is all over on that topic. I think that might be a good topic. What do you guys think? I also want to talk about what's the best software to use, or pardon me, what is the best filament to use for certain applications? Because I know that a lot of people run into that problem. They don't know exactly what software to use for different applications. So there's our sex bolt all done. We got it plugged in. We've got that done. So now we've got to take a couple of bolts and put that through. I'm just going to quickly open up my listing here so I know exactly what I need to put on here. There we go. I need to know what bolts, and then we're going to go ahead and put that sex bolt on. Right back here. And I believe, oh yeah, I can get right in nice and tight with this camera. Nice and tight. There we go. If you recall, I made a shower valve handle. Yes, I do recall that. Yeah. So this guy's going to sit back here, just like so. And he could go up a little bit higher, I think, because he's not high enough for that. So we are going to just make, yeah, I think I'm going to have to, make that go up a little bit higher, because that should be, this should be up higher. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do that. Should be a little bit higher. We're getting there. There we go. Now we're still down a little bit too low. Just a little bit too low just yet. We just want it to be up high enough so that it doesn't allow the nozzle to crash into the bed. And we're almost there. There we go. We're just up a little bit taller than the bed. Okay. So that's where that's going to go. So now we need to get ourselves a couple of screws. Let's find out what screws we need for that. Okay. We're going to use some M3 by 20s, and I'm just going to use a couple of M3 hammer nuts on this. That way I can position it a little easier. What do we got for M320s down in here? I don't think I got any M320s in here. They're M3 by 8s. 310-12s. I know I got some M320 somewhere. And I will find them, by God. There we go. Got them. I got them. Take a couple of M320s, pop them through there. I'm just going to get an M3 hammer nut started on here. There we go. Get another one started on here. There we go. Oh, that one didn't quite go on. Hey, there's Marcel. Bolt looks good. Yeah, but I need to be able to get this M3 hammer nut on here. There we go. M3 hammer nut on both sides. All right. So now we're just going to go ahead and get this put into place. May need a different. You can push an ender pretty hard. Yeah, you can push an ender pretty hard. I would agree with that. Okay, we're a little bit above where we want to be. Okay. Perfect. And I know I've got plenty of wire to go back into the area in which I need it to go into. So I'm just going to stuff that down in there for now. And there we have our X wire in place. We'll just go and connect that a little bit later on. So what do we got to do next? Well, bring this camera back down. Zoom out a little bit. we go. Because now we got to work on this guy. This is really the only thing that we have to work on right now. Let's take a look and see what's going on here. Nick, you know, every time I hear Voron, I want to say the Vorons were defeated by Captain Sheridan. Yeah, I got that. I did. We'll have the excuse that today is a public holiday, so more of us around. Teza, yes, it is. Well, it is and it isn't a public holiday. And I'm going to say this to all of my friends and my co-workers that are celebrating Passover right now. Happy Passover to you. And because I work for a company that celebrates Passover, I have today, tomorrow, and Monday off. So I will be working on my Voron over the next couple of days to get ready for Sunday and get everything all buttoned up and that sort of thing. Then we're going to put some software on it. We're going to test it. Maybe we can even get to a print next week. Who knows? And then we'll get the little things on it, and then I'll have to get in touch with Golden Jaguar to help me with my tuning, or maybe I can just go to Kermit and he can help me with my tuning. So that'll be handy. What else we got going here? Just can't afford a Voron at the moment. Exchange rate is crazy. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. Yeah, we're really pushing forward on this thing. Like, there's not a lot left to do. We've got our tap already connected. We're going to have to do some configuration, but right now I need to solder this up, and I'm going to need some small lengths of wire. I like using a little thicker wire. Maybe that's just me, and I've got some here that I can use. A little bit thicker wire right here that I can use. Just cut that connector off the end. I don't need it. And I don't need a ton of wire here. I only need a little bit. So I'll probably cut this guy in half. Actually, let's split them. Let's split them. There we go. And now we'll just cut them in half. Go back to this camera here. Because I don't need a ton of wire here. I really don't. And I believe this is the last thing that we really have to wire up. Okay, so we got 2 red, we got 2 black. We're going to need our soldering iron. Now my soldering iron setup is a little different than everybody else's. I'm going to move some of these tools out of my way. I'll toss my soldering, actually, let's just toss the soldering iron right here. Because that's where it can go. That's where it can sit for today. And we're just going to plug in the soldering iron. Plug that cat. Plug that one in. Now my soldering iron, the way I have it set up is so that I have my solder sucker on the bottom, or my desoldering station on the bottom. And I just use some HV tape to get it to work. So go back here to camera 2. So here's my desoldering station right here, and here's my Weller soldering iron on the top, and that's just kind of how I do it. I don't know, maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, I don't know. You guys tell me. You guys tell me. Now, what did I do? What a drunken sailor, what did I do? What a drunken sailor. What did I do? What a drunken sailor lie in the morning. I know I had it here, but seeing as I don't, I'm just going to go and get some water on this my sponge, and that way I can keep my tip clean. Because I don't know what I did with my other tip cleaner. Oh, there it is. Oh, look at that. You open your eyes, Mr. Cleveland, you will find it. You will find it if you open your eyes. Now the other thing I need is my helping hands and my solder, which is right here. Put that right there. Look at that. Didn't have to go too far at all. All right. You know, I got these helping hands from some store. I don't even remember what store it was now. Probably Princess Auto here in Canada. And they're not the world's greatest helping hands. They are not the world's greatest. I'm just going to take these little short pieces. I don't want a lot of excess wire here, so I'm trying not to have a bunch of it, because it's all got to kind of fit in under here where it's going to get plugged in. So I have to put a plug on here as well. And I just happen to have some plugs. Yeah, I've had these ones for a long time too. Let's go back to this camera here. I've had mine for a long time as well. You can see I'm not taking much off those. Like, it's very, very little. Because I know for a fact that because I'm not using a ton here, I don't need a lot. All right, I am going to need a connector though. And the connector I'm going to need is in this box right here. My soldering iron died last week. Gotta get a new one. Used to have a Weller. Yeah, I like the Weller. They work for me. So I'm going to be using one of these little guys. And this is a 4-pin header. Just a standard 4-pin header. Because I know that on my printer, I have a standard 4-pin header there. So that's what I am going to do. Is I'm just going to use that 4-pin header, and I'm going to solder 4 wires to it, and then solder it, or kind of place it in there so that I can run the wires to here. And it'll kind of hang down, but it shouldn't bother anything. Shouldn't get caught on anything. I liked Radio Shack. Radio Shack is one of my favorite places. I used to work for Radio Shack back when I was a young man. Very young man. There we go. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to tin my soldering iron. You know what a smart guy would do is use his helping hands. Like so. That's what a smart guy would do. but I never claimed to be really, really smart. Never claimed to be really, really smart. Hey, while I'm doing this, I want to take a moment to thank all of our sponsors. And our sponsors are LDO Motors, BQ3D Big Tree Tech, E3D, Fadis, 3D Lab Tech, KB3D, Keene Village Plastics, friend of the channel, Dwit 3D Canada, and of course Kermit from Build It Basement, and Lineo, one of our helping us out with our wiring harness. All right, so there we go. A little bit too much solder on this one. There we go. Now let's tin all of our wires. Now I am not a professional at doing this, so if you guys think I'm doing this wrong, you're probably right. I really should find my flux, which is right here. You know what? I think I'm going to redo this because I melted it a little bit and I don't like the way that it melted. So I'm going to just toss that one and I'll get a new one. Lord knows I have lots of them, so. All right. Let's put a little bit of flux on here. I love this applicator. This is probably one of my favorite applicators. You guys really can't see what I'm doing there, can you? Let's get some solder there. It's that simple. Flip those puppies over. A little bit of flux. I love this syringe applicator. Like I said, it's one of my favorites. You can get flux exactly where you need it. Actually, let's clean that off. There we go there. So our red wires are done. Now we're going to do our black wires. By far my favorite applicator. Try the TRS-80 and the Coco. Now we're, what the flux? I know. It's a flux capacitor. And I probably should have a fume extractor, but I don't do enough soldering to worry about it. Boom. There we go. Hey, get off there. I have to change out my scrubby, I think. There, those are done. Now we're going to grab this again. I'm going to flux all these up. There we go. Flux those up. And we'll do this one more time. The right way. Don't breathe it in, dummy. Okay. So that is done. Ow! Oh yeah, by the way, dummy, don't touch them. They're hot. Now, I need to put some flux on these guys. And we're just going to do the outside pins. Just going to do the outside pins. There we go. Now, I kind of got to decide where I'm going to put these wires. So, I like to make sure that all my wires kind of go the right way. So, I'm going to take the red ones and I'm going to put them on where the bend is in this little area here. And I'm going to use a pair of tweezers. I don't have locking tweezers like some of the fancy guys out there, but I do have these tweezers. Which I can use. There's that one. Here is the black one. Black one next. Get right down to the bottom of those tweezers. Go. Now we've got those two on. Now I can just kind of pick them up and put them out of the way. And they're on there perfect. Again, my red is going to go to where the plate or the spring plate comes out. And that you don't have to do it like that. I just like to do it like that because for me, it just makes the most sense. It works in my brain for whatever reason. That's how things work in my brain. Don't ask me why, that's how things work in my brain. And there we go. So those are now in there. So now how am I going to connect these? Well, when I look at the original connector, I see that red is on the outside. So I'm going to go red. And this is going to sit in like so. That's going to sit in like so. Maybe I should do it this way. Yeah, I'll do it that way. So we'll do a red wire here. See if I can do this right without damaging anything. Now, you know what a smart guy would have done? Smart guy would have taken some shrink wrap, heat shrink tubing, and put it on there. That's what a smart guy would have done. And I only have black, I don't have any colored, which kind of sucks. So we're going to use black. Use some black heat shrink here. Just to cover things up. We don't need very much. Just so we don't get any shorts along the way. I'm going to take these, slide them down over. There we go. Let's see if we can't. Set this up the way that we want to set it up. Soldering iron. That little bit up in there. Oh, see, that came off. Why did you come off? Probably because you weren't on there properly. There, that's better. That's better. And I did have a little lighter here. There we go. Let's get this guy on. Down. It's just so delicate. There we go. Now, the red one goes first. And now the black one. And now we are all done with this connector. There we go. So that's what it looks like now that we've got all the wiring in. We've got our switches in. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Oh, that's Stream Element saying that. Did I miss anything here? I'm talking the early 70s. I was like 9. Dad wanted me to learn programming. Wow. Early 70s. Yeah, I remember the early 70s. Let me ask you guys, how old were you when you saw Star Wars, not A New Hope, before it was renamed A New Hope. Did you see the original Star Wars in 1977? Tell me how old you were when you saw Star Wars. I'm curious to know. I'm very curious to know how old you were when you saw Star Wars. I need 2 M330s now. Mika Steve, 17. Okay. 12 Tesla was. 3D Medic Vince, 6 to 7. Builded Basement was -5, so he wasn't born yet. I was 12 years old when I saw Star Wars. Nick was -1. Midlife Chaos was 11. 14 for Snapshot. Cool. Now, can I ask, are we all Star Wars fans here? Do we all love Star Wars? I mean, it's okay if you don't. I don't know how long we'll be friends, but it's okay if you don't. Absolutely. Marcel was 25, Shadell was 10. Nuno was -20 something. Hell yeah, Midlife says. We are all Star Wars fans here. I love Star Wars. Star Wars was like #1 for me. Star Wars literally changed my life. Let's have a look. See here, we need some 30s. I know we have some. We do have some 30s right there. This is the last piece of the puzzle. The last piece of the puzzle right here. We got to put this guy in. He goes right there. And then we got to take this guy and plug him in right there. All right. So let's get our last two. Did we put the... Okay. So I'm going to take this screw out. I put these in the wrong spot. Or did I? Or did I? I did put them in the wrong spot. That's okay. I'm going to take these and we're just going to move them. That one there. Take out this one. There we go. There we go. All right. Thought it came out in 78. No, it came out in 1977. 1977 it came out. Maybe in your end of the woods it came out in 1978, but Come on now. There we go. There we go. Happy birthday, Nuno. I missed your birthday. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. Oh, I had another one out already. Look at that. Tessa says, happy birthday, birthdays are just another day to him. Well, they kind of are for me too, but. All right, so now I'm going to have to get this cable sitting in this channel, getting it locked in there. The only problem is that this cable doesn't want to stay locked in there. Okay, we're in good shape. All right, so we have that all done. All we're going to have to do now is clean up this wiring here, which I think what I'm going to do with this wiring right here is I'm just going to make a channel or something along that line to put this wire up in here so that it doesn't get caught on anything. We'll make those last connections on the board. We're going to add in a, let me just show you down here a little bit on the back side. You can see we've got a USB and an Ethernet port. I'm going to use Ethernet instead of Wi-Fi on this build. I'd much rather use Ethernet or Wi-Fi. And then we're going to go ahead and be putting on the panels shortly as well. We have everything we need for our panels. We're in good shape there. We've got a 7-inch monitor. Again, I don't know, do I want that monitor down here? Because it is kind of big, or should I put it up at the top of the build? You guys tell me. I'm sorry I'm late, 3D and Dwit. Isn't there a zip tie loop to hold that in? I don't have any zip tie loops to hold that in, but I'll just 3D print a cover and I'll do that. Tim had computer issues. Wow, I wonder what was going on there. Let me just go back to this camera. We're almost going to wrap things up here in about 15 minutes. But do you guys think I should take this monitor and put it up on the top, like so, or put it down here? Because it is a fairly big monitor, and if I put it down here, I am going to have to put it on such an angle so that it doesn't drag. I don't know if I like that very much. We'll have to see. I think I'm going to swap this camera with that camera because that camera seems to be blinking in and out. Probably Windows being Windows. Yeah. I'm sure there's zip tie loops so that I can print off for this, but I don't think I'm going to. We still are going to have to figure out what we're going to do with this little guy real quick. So this is our who is this made by? This is made by Triangle Labs. This is our filament out detection switch. We have to figure out where we're going to put that yet. And we have to figure out where we're going to mount our sensor as well for our chamber. So those are the two last things to go in. We've got the camera in. We're going to, again, make some covers so that we can hide the USB cable. So we'll have 720p on this for video. So we'll be able to see exactly what's going on when it prints. I don't think there's much more to do on this in terms of the build itself. I think we're pretty much where we need to be. I do have one little thing to do on the back here, and that is change out this plug. I put the wrong plug on so that I could plug in the motor, but I'll put that new plug on and everything should be hunky and funky. And then we are off to the races. I'm putting on the software. So maybe we'll do that on Sunday. Let's play with some software on Sunday. Why not? What the heck? Let's do that. I probably missed it, but where did the wire with the fuse go? Ah, okay, Snapshot FPV. That actually, I did say that at the top of the show. That wire went to a 24 volt output on the power supply. So I have a power supply right here. So I'm going to show you guys this. Let me go close-up camera again. Close-up camera. There we go. Okay, so that purple wire goes on a 24 volt output. Any one of these first three, it can go on. And then the ground will go on to the ground wire. It'll attach to the power supply as well on the ground wire. So that's where those two purple wires go that I didn't know where they went before. But that's where they go. One goes on the plus voltage and one goes on the ground on the power supply. Okay. So that was thanks to Chris. And I'm thinking about doing a complete teardown on how to do this for your build. If you're going with the M8P, the Manta M8P from BQ, I'm going to get another wiring harness, and I've spoken with Chris about this from KB3D, and I think that it's a really good idea that we go ahead and we do a video on it showing exactly how to hook up a wiring harness to the power supply and how to hook it up to the Manta M8P board so that everybody is very clear, because there's no real documentation on it and it really is a pain in the butt. So we do have a power supply here that we can test it on, and we can do a sort of an open board thing, which I think is what we're going to do in that regard. So okay, so okay, made the mistake of saying yes to Windows updates. Oh yeah, stop doing that. Richard, okay, I saw that one. I switched to Linux again. Got sick. Okay. Nick. Nice. I'm tempted to do the same. Yeah. I know Linux a little bit, not as much as I probably should. I should probably know it more, but I don't. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, we are pretty much wrapped up for today. We've got everything that we needed in place. I'm going to change that one connector probably tomorrow. And then I will double check all of my connections, make sure everything's good. I'll plug it in and see if we got some life, and see if we don't get any smoke, because I don't want to get any smoke on Sunday when I go to add the operating system. So we're going to add operating system on Sunday. Yep, that's what we're going to do. So I guess I'm going to wrap things up a little bit early tonight. I don't think there's much more to really talk about, but I do want to thank all of the sponsors of this particular build. These sponsors are just for this build, just so you guys know. People that helped out, sent us stuff so that we could get things done. And that includes LDO Motors, Jason from LDO Motors, BQ3D, Big Tree Tech, E3D, Fadus, 3D Lab Tech, KB3D, our good friend Chris, Keene Village Plastics, Dwit 3D Canada, and Build It Basement, as well as Lineo supplying us our wiring harness for this build. So we got all that. We're good to go. We're just now in the final connections and make sure that everything is where it should be. And then adding these two little guys. And then we're done for the build. I'm hiccuping. I don't know why I'm hiccuping. But yeah, then we're done. So we are going to call call this a night tonight. I'll see you guys back here on Sunday at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for Ask for Help. And you can ask me for help all you want on Sunday. I'm here to help you, but I am going to do some work on the firmware and the OS for this build and get this thing running. So next week we can maybe start printing something and get this thing tuned up in time for our unveiling at Maker Faire, which is happening here in Calgary, May 13th and 14th at the BMO Center. If you are around, please come and say hi. Dwit and I will be there, along with Joseph Prussia and the Prussia research team. My good friend Ben Eady will be there. He works in the film and television industry as a special effects artist. He uses 3D printing to do props and things like that. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that with him. There will also be the Boston Dynamics robot dog will be there as well. So make sure that you come by and say hi. And pick up a puzzle. We have puzzles. These little guys. We have puzzles. So come pick up a puzzle, and if you can solve the puzzle, you can solve anything. So until I see you guys next time, remember that the first layer is always your foundation to a great print. Have yourselves a great Thursday evening. I'm going to go and enjoy Friday off. Yes, I'm going to enjoy Friday off. Now I'm probably going to work on this a little bit more. That's just the way I am. That's just the way I am. All right, so what are we doing now? We got to go to this thing right here. Yeah, that's the one. I'll see you guys next time.